Microsoft Excel using parts of the screen. In a previous video, we've identified various parts of the screen. We're going to go into a little bit more detail now so you understand how to use some of those areas. Firstly, we're going to point out some buttons that are very handy in Excel. These basic buttons here, New, Open, Save and Print, are common to most Office programs. In other words, if you've used Microsoft Word, you're probably already familiar with these buttons. I'm going to bypass most of these until we get to this button here. This is the AutoSum button, and it's very handy when you want to do quick calculations, and that's covered in a video later on. With toolbars, it's important to know that they can be moved, and if you move your mouse to the left hand side of any toolbar, you'll notice that your mouse becomes a four-headed arrow. So whether I move to the standard toolbar or down the bottom here to the formatting toolbar or even to the menu bar, a four-headed arrow appears. What it means is I can click and drag and I can make that toolbar become a floating toolbar, or I can drag it over to the left hand side of the screen and it slots in to the left hand side. And I've still got my finger on the mouse button, I haven't taken it off, so I can continue to move it. I can move it over to the right hand side and it slots in to the right. I can take it down to the bottom and it slots down the bottom. And I'll take it back up to the top. You can also have two toolbars in one row. If you can see that. That sometimes gets a little bit confusing, and remember I've still got my finger on the mouse, so I can continue to move it. I can even move the toolbar above the menu bar if I really want it, and I'm going to drag my mouse all the way to the left and then pull it down a little bit so that it's in the same order that we started, and then I can take my finger off and move my mouse away, and that's using the toolbars. We're going to have a look now at the sheet tabs. We're looking at sheet 1, and if we want to see the contents of sheet 2, we simply click it. Because we're using a brand new spreadsheet, you won't notice any difference between them. But in a future video, we'll identify the difference, and you'll be able to see the difference between the different sheets. These arrows also, we don't need to use them at this stage because we only have 3 sheet tabs, but you can have many more than 3, and their names can be a lot longer. In that situation, these arrows would become very handy. We're familiar, or you should be familiar, with a scroll bar. This is a horizontal scroll bar that enables you to scroll to the left and the right of your spreadsheet. But what I want to point out new that you wouldn't have seen in Word is that there's a little divider here. That divider enables you to give the sheet tabs less room and the scroll bar more room, or the sheet tabs more room and the scroll bar less. The other button I want to point out in the toolbar is the chart button. That's a quick way to create charts. Now we're going to get to know the Select All button. This little button here, if you click it, it will select your entire spreadsheet, no matter how big it is. And if you don't want everything to be selected, you simply click on any cell. And that's getting to know in a little bit more detail various parts of your Excel screen.